This is MIcornus Phokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. We're wrapping up this great topic. We speak about understanding the duties of ministry. And this, I'm speaking particularly to people that are actually blinded by the crowds that are following them, blinded by the glamour of the gospel, blinded by thinking that pastors are actually making money with ministry. And I think there are those that also think that being appreciated as pastors and that's glamour to be appreciated by people as well. And they don't know that the pastors are working more harder. And there's more duties of the ministry more than the glamour of the pulpit. And this is the reason why we've brought this topic today. And we hope that it is helping you. So if you haven't followed us from part one, so please do so and do yourself justice from part one of this great topic. Follow us part 2, 3, and 4 until you join us on this particular one. And I believe that you're learning out of this. Now, one of those duties of being a minister or duties of ministry is being able to fulfill the calling. Being able to fulfill the calling, because you may be actually a minister and you're actually having the church yourself and so on, and you're just all over the place and you're not careful about making sure that you fulfill the calling. Remember that it is a calling that matters the most than just to gather people and make noise to them. It's very important that you're careful every time that you are concerned about what your calling is all about. And focus on your calling rather than being all over the place. And I've seen there are many people that are running churches, but yet you cannot even see what the calling of this minister is, because they may not even know what their calling is. And we want to emphasize that the duties of the ministry is ability to identify your calling and to fulfill that calling as well. You cannot just be random about it. You need to understand the calling so that you can be able to fulfill it. In the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 14, Paul says, do not neglect the spiritual gift within you. Because it's very important to actually look at the spiritual gift in you, which is the calling, and be able to focus on it and don't be all over the place. So please be careful that you need to fulfill the vision or the calling that God has put upon you. And that's the reason why you will arrive one day in heaven and God will say, well done, faithful servant. Because faithful servant, you're going to be judged by, have you been able to fulfill the calling? Because that's very important, that you don't actually run on other people's tracks or people's lanes while you are running your race. But remember that you must run in your race. And that's what we call being careful to fulfill the calling that you've been called in. Now, then Paul says, which was bestowed on you through prophetic utterances with the laying on of hands by the presbytery, which is the leadership, which is the elders. And therefore, it is very important that you identify that gift and that ordination that they ordain you into the calling. Be careful that you follow that calling and be able to fulfill the calling of God upon your life. There are people who go into the ministry and they bail out because they weren't called to do it in the first place. And there are those that just really just enjoyed to see others being in ministry. Or they look at the ministry, they think that there are a lot of perks in the ministry, and they want to be part of that. They want to enjoy the perks of the ministry. And that's the reason why we mentioned that there are those that went into ministry because they think that there's money in the ministry. And want to warn you, because that's very important, that you have a calling first, because ministry is difficult to actually articulate it without a calling. People are having passion because of the calling. Those that understand their calling, they are keeping up with passion. But if you don't have a calling, you're going to get tired because ministry is not just to be there to the way you see it and to receive offerings and think that you'll make money and thinks that there's a glamour of being on the pulpit, clapping hands for you and so on. It's much more. And ministry is much more deeper than just that. And that is why I'm highly respecting pastors and men of God and women of God that are called into a ministry. I respect them highly and I honor them because I know that ministry is not a child's play. And majority of the people that have got into ministry have gone in and quit quickly because they thought that it is for mama's babies, and it's not easy at all. And that's why we want to emphasize that be careful to understand that ministry work, you need to be fulfilling the calling, and you don't just get in there for glamour and so on. You must fulfill the calling. The other thing that we want to present to you today, which speaks about duties of ministry, is you need to be totally absorbed in your work. You need to be totally absorbed in your ministry work. Now, when we speak about totally absorbed, we're talking about whereby you breathe and eat and sleep the work of the ministry. You must have full passion and be driven actually to full work of the ministry. It is not going to happen overnight. It's something that you have to really practice and get yourself and pull up your sleeves and make sure that you are deep into it and you're diligent in what you're doing. Now, be diligent in these matters, the Bible says, and Paul was telling Timothy and say, give yourself wholly to these things. Give yourself wholly to the ministry. Paul was speaking to Timothy in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 15. And I want to urge you, please, go through the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4, the whole chapter. You will see exactly what Paul spoke to Timothy about, which is very, very important. Now here he says, be diligent, which shows that you need to be totally absorbed in the work of the ministry, because it's very key to understand that even though the ministry expands to different other duties than the pulpit, as we are teaching right now, you need to be fully absorbed in it. So an excellent minister is single-minded, as opposed to the double-minded man who is unstable in all his ways, according to the book of James chapter 1, verse 8. So you need to be focused. You need to make sure that you do things fully sold out in them. And when you run a ministry, focus on it. Don't play jokes about it, because it's not going to be easy for you. So many ministers, they spend sleepless nights preparing for sermons, preparing for teachings, preparing for prayers, and so on. It's not an easy task. It's deeper than what you think when it comes to the duties of the ministry. And we emphasize that, please be focused. Don't be unstable, like it is said in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 8. So please make sure that you are not unstable and you focus on the work of the ministry. Now, the word translated meditate, it says meleta, which conveys the idea of thinking through beforehand, planning, strategizing, planning, or even premeditating everything that you do. Now, when we speak about absorbed in the work of God, we make sure that you premeditate, you plan, you strategize the work. Before you articulate anything, you must actually have planned it. That's very important, and we want to emphasize that. So when a minister is not doing the work of the ministry, he is at least busy planning it. So you must either be planning it or you're busy doing it at that particular time. That's how much fully absorbed you should be in the ministry of God. So give yourself wholly to the work of God, and that's very, very important that you do wholly. You must have passion in what you do. A pastor can't have a double agenda. A pastor must be focused on the ministry, must be focused on the calling, must make sure that they are absorbed in the work of the ministry. So you can't, for an example, divide your efforts between being in the ministry and becoming a tennis pro or tennis player and or a footballer or whatever. So it's very important that you focus on the ministry and make sure that the ministry is being given full attention and you don't do injustice to the ministry. The other thing that we want to close with today, that's part of the duties, understanding the duties of the work of the ministry or the duties of the ministry, is you need to be continually progressing in your spiritual growth as a minister. You need to be continually growing as a minister or as a learned person. You must grow as a minister in your ministry. This is very important. So therefore, any type of ministry or calling that you have to grow in it. You have to move from one step to another. You must be seen to be growing in it. You must be seen to be moving from one level to another. You can't remain stagnant in the same place where you were last year and the same place where you were in the past. So please start growing and start showing up to be growing. And this is suggested in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 15 that Timothy spiritual progress must be shown. He should have been obviously to everyone that you are actually growing, and tell everyone that that they must grow as well. You must be seen by everyone that there's at least a growth in this particular individual. This is very, very important. That implies that he hadn't yet reached the complete spiritual maturity when he is not seen or manifesting in other people to see that you're matured and grown. A minister should not try to convince his people that he has no flaws. Don't convince people that you don't have mistakes. Don't convince people that you are faultless. Don't convince the people that you are infallible. No, you must not. You should allow them to see your growth from one point to another. The people must actually see that you've moved from one point to another and you're not the same anymore. So people must see your growth. So the standard for a servant of God is high, and we all fall short of it, of course, but it must be a conscious decision that we want to grow every day. We can't remain static. We can't remain in one place, but we must actually be able to grow and show the growth. Even Paul said, not that I have already obtained it, he says, I press on towards the goal, he says, in the book of Philippians chapter 3, verse 12 and 13. And Paul recognizes the fact that he's not perfect himself. And he's mentioning it that he's still not obtained it yet, but he's actually pursuing his growth. Paul had his own faults, of course, like any other person. He wasn't perfect. And the book of Acts chapter 23, 1-5 actually expatiated that. It actually explains that he was not a perfect man at all. People need to see our integrity and humility. I'm not perfect as well, but I hope I'm progressing and growing. Therefore, growth is very, very important. I want to end up here today. Your host, MIcornus Phokane. I'm the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. Remember, we are called to restore godly order in the house of the orderly God. And I believe that you've learned quite a bit out of this today, and your life shall never be the same. Before we check out today, remember our Facebook page, Church Governance Solutions, our Facebook page, MIcornus Phokane. So we want to urge you to click notification buttons there as you like the pages and follow us on the pages. The good Lord will bless you as you do that. Don't forget our YouTube channel as well. It's under Young Men Empowerment Forum. And of course, our YouTube channel needs to be subscribed to, and click notification button. While you don't forget our TikTok account as well, under MIcornus Phokane. We believe that you'll follow us there, and the good Lord will bless you as you do that. Until we meet again with another topic, may the good Lord bless you. Allow me to check out right here and say cheers for now.